So, welcome to the Greek Memories of Azur Any Percent Speedrun Tutorial. If you are interested in speedrunning this game, or you're just interested in understanding more about the speedrun and what's going on with it, I am going to walk through the entire run, walk through the route, talk a little bit about what happens and why. Some of the optimizations that are in here may not be the absolute best things that we can do. Some of these I have not worked. I have not worked everything into a run. But so we're going to go ahead and get started. So when we start the speedrun, one thing that you should know is that similar to Metroid Dread, Super Metroid, we are creating a new file and then we're backing out of the game to create something that skips the initial cutscene. It saves the hassle of timing people on how fast they can skip the initial cutscene. Just like... Meh. It seems like a weird thing to integrate into, like, how fast can you remember where the B button is and hit it and hold it for the right amount of times. Anyway. So when you do this, you will end up with a file that has no in-game time, starting in Lyser Fortress, and it will have the Greek icon on it. Save files will always have your active character noted on them, so if you're ever curious who you're going to be in control of when you start, that's a good way to tell. So we're going to go ahead and start this, and this will dump us right into the tutorial area. So this area is designed to teach you how Greek controls and how his movement works. So Greek has a sword that he can slash by pressing the square button on a PlayStation controller, or X, I guess, on an Xbox controller, I think. You can jump with A, dodge roll with Y or triangle. The jump is X on a PlayStation controller. I use a DualSense, so this is my little girl. So if I'm wrong about the buttons, I do apologize about that. And then there is the B button or the circle button on the PlayStation controller. Yeah, so jumping is A, which lets you talk and interact when it's necessary. So this dodge roll is faster than Greek's base movement. Greek also has a double jump. You can wall climb. You can wall climb infinitely. You do slide down walls, you don't stick to them, but if you hit the corner like this, you'll stick. You can jump out of this, or you can mantle up. The mantle is slower, so if you ever hit a corner like this, really your preference is to jump out of it if you can, but there's a delay. You can't just like hit the corner and immediately jump. You grab the corner and you're stuck for a bit. So generally speaking, we actually want to avoid grabbing these corners, just like this, so that we can keep moving. It is important to note that your run speed actually does, or your dodge roll speed actually does change on upslopes and downslopes. Your run speed doesn't really, so if you run up an upslope, you're fine, but if you dodge roll through a downslope, you go whoosh. But if you try to go up a slope with a dodge roll, it's like molasses. So there's a little optimizations that come around over the course of the run. This tutorial area, there is actually one more important thing that I do want to point out about the general physics of the character handling, and that is if you fall from too high, your character will stagger. So there is fall staggering like in Symphony of the Night in this game, so you want to avoid that whenever possible. If you're coming from a large height, you want to try and use your double jump right before you hit the ground, because that will negate the stagger. These little spike things are one of the hardest enemies to hit consistently. So to the best of your ability, it's better to dodge roll through those, or just like not not have to deal with them when possible. So this whole general area is really just like basic platforming. One important thing about Greek's movement, and this is something that comes in handy later in the run a lot, is that Greek moves at full speed while slashing his sword. So, yeah, I got spiked. Red crystals drop guaranteed health between 1 and 3 points of health. So they are useful. Enemies can also randomly drop health. It's those little red orbs that fly. However, they can run into characters other than the characters who need health. So, so that's an important thing. I'm going to go ahead and whack that here. So this little segment right here is one of the harder places to not mantle or stagger on. You basically want to do something like that as you're falling. Let's go to this again. So you're basically going to just like hop here and then hop, double jump there, something like that, to make sure that you don't stagger. Right here, you can actually hop just all the way down to the ground and then double jump right before you hit the ground, and that's fine. I'm gonna kill this just to get it out of my way, but you normally would not do that. One thing that I haven't talked about yet is rolling off of platforms. Let me see if I can get a little... it doesn't look like I can get back up there, so I don't have like a safe place to show you this. So I'm gonna fall. But if I roll off of this platform, I fast fall. And that actually only happens if you have VSync disabled. You'll see I have VSync disabled here. You actually want VSync disabled if you can. If you're playing on console, obviously you can't. If you're playing on PC, disable VSync. But the other thing is that you do have a little bit of Coyote time. Just in general, like if you run off a platform, but you can also dodge roll off of a platform and Coyote time. Right, so I still have my double jump there. If you do it soon enough, you'll still keep that. So if you need to get more horizontal distance, you can. You do have Coyote Jumps. And so a common thing that you'll want to do is, in fact, roll off of these platforms, and then right as you come off the platform, because again, you're going to fast fall, you're going to jump there, and that gets you more dodge roll distance to increase your speed. So this bridge right here is going to collapse under me when I move to the right a little bit. So I'm going to move to the right until you're going to see black letterboxing at the top and bottom of the screen. And when that happens, I'm immediately going to turn around left because I want to fall as fast as possible. If you do it just right, you can fast fall off of one of those chunks of platform. But falling there will take you immediately into this dream sequence, and you have to text advance to get through this. That Greek wake up, you have to manually advance that. There's a slow walk at the beginning of this. Here, I'm actually going to... The game does auto-save you at the beginning of this dream sequence, so if I revert to save here, I'll just wake up here. See, so this text, if I don't press anything, it's just going to sit there. So you're gonna auto-advance that text. A little bit of text smashing. And as long as this letterboxing is still here, Greek is... You're not going to be able to jump or dodge roll or anything. Greek is just going to walk at this, like, kind of plodding pace. So until you walk over to this cliff, the letterboxing is going to go away. You're going to dismiss this text box, and now you have free control of Greek again. Water. You'll notice that when Greek swims through the water, he doesn't move as fast, and if you jump out of the water, you'll start moving faster. An important thing about water is that water is a little bit bouncy, so you actually can just jump off the surface of the water like it's ground, as long as you haven't used your double jump, and you'll get your double jump back. Just like splashing on the top of the water does give you your double jump back. But if you've already used your double jump and you try to bounce off the top of the water, it doesn't work. So from here, right, a basic movement is something like that, where you're gonna dodge roll jump and then jump, 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 dodge roll jump, jump. And now we've got these vines. As the tutorial shows you, you can climb onto them. You can attach to them with B or circle on your PlayStation controller. You can jump off of these. Grabbing onto the vines also restores your double jump. So actually the fastest way to climb vines is generally to attach, double jump, attach, double jump. And so that's basically all there is to that. At this point in the dream sequence, we're going to meet Greek's sister, Adara. So this dream sequence serves as a tutorial for how sibling mechanics work. She has a couple things to say, so we dismiss them. And then it wants you to press right to switch to Adara. Now, when you switch between siblings, each sibling has a dedicated button. So if I press left, it will switch to Greek. And if I press left again, nothing will happen. If I press right, I'll take control of Adara and nothing will happen. If I press the down button, though, I just switch back and forth between them. This is actually really important because several of the major glitches later in this run that enable like fairly significant skips depend on interaction glitches that only work if you switch siblings using the down button. It does not work if you switch to a sibling directly. So we're gonna switch to Adara, just like it says. So Adara fires these bolts of magic. She has a little meter that appears above her head whenever she's shooting her bolts of magic that tells you how much magic she has left. When she runs out, she can't attack anymore, and she'll regain magic slowly, and you know, the rate at which she gains it, she kind of has this sort of plotting man. She has a backdash instead of a forward roll. You can use that for additional speed, but you do have to turn around first. So it can be a little bit wonky to get the hang of. Adara, as you can see, also hovers instead of double jumping when she's on her own. That uses up her magic meter. That is the same magic meter that is used for her attacks. So that is something that's really important to be aware of. It's not really relevant in any percent, but this blue stuff that enemies drop sometimes is money. They're called creeps. Coming around, the whole point of this is that Adara needs to get to Greek and show him or help him through here. So what's going to happen is it's going to have, Adara's going to stand on the switch, it's going to open this, and that's going to allow Greek through. And then once we get through, the game is going to freeze my control until I hit left trigger to engage mimic mode. So now when I press left and right, these are, the characters are going to move in tandem. If I'm controlling Greek and I press the triangle or Y button, then Greek is going to is dodge roll, and if I am controlling Adara, then Adara is going to backdash. So it's important which character you're controlling in that respect. So you want Greek to get a little bit ahead here, because it's faster to send Adara through over here, just because this ladder in particular is a little bit weird sometimes, and you may find yourself having trouble grabbing onto it. It is, it's slightly faster to send Adara through there. In general, if you can solve a puzzle only using Greek, because he moves so much faster than everybody else, you do want to do that. For this puzzle, you're supposed to move the block over here onto this switch so that both of the siblings can get through. So one of them holds the gate open, you push the block through, yada, yada, yada. But if we just leave this here, then when Adara pushes off of it, it jams the mechanism. Now that doesn't seem very helpful until Adara pushes the block through, and now she just goes on through. And pushing and pulling this block is slow, so pushing it into the gate like that is actually faster. Continuing on, we have some more climbing. We have another red crystal full of health in case you need it. And then here it's going to force you to use the right trigger to regroup. However, it turns out you don't need Adara in order to exit this area, so you can just tap it. As soon as you tap it, Greek is now free to move again, and he can just roll to the end of the area by himself. So you can jump with your companions, your siblings, when they're being recalled to you using regroup. You can make them jump, but your active character is frozen in place while you're regrouping. So there's a cost to that, to navigating that way. But we will use it for various things over the course of the run. So Greek is found at the bottom of the waterfall, wakes up in this village, and now this woman, Riam, has a whole bunch of things to say about, you know, we found you, and then she gives you mushroom soup. And she won't continue talking to you until you've eaten the mushroom soup. So we eat the mushroom soup, but eating the mushroom soup is not enough. You must recover at least 1 life point before she'll continue talking to you. So as soon as you've recovered that 1 life point, you talk to her again. And no matter what you do, do not go talk to that guy. Make sure that you are standing in the doorway, but not close enough that that guy's interaction happens so that you can go through the door. Because, let me show you. If you talk to this guy, this is a long text sequence. That's a lot of text that you don't want to have to deal with. So out here, welcome to Raven's Road Camp. This is Valgor. He sells various weapon type goods. He'll sell whetstones that sharpen your sword temporarily and stuff like that. This woman sells healing supplies, and she'll give you a quest for learning the recipe for mushroom soup. We're not going to do any of that. We are going to go immediately left and talk to Tauros, who can give us some work. But on our way here, this is a save point. We're going to save the game. Why are we going to save the game? Isn't that a waste of time? Well, it turns out that if you don't save the game, when you leave the village, the encampment, a guard will lecture you to make sure that you use the save stone to call upon the blessings of the wind or whatever. If you want, you can pick up this mushroom really quickly for safety. You can eat mushrooms and they'll eventually regenerate a life point. I accidentally left that here. When you move far enough to the left, you'll automatically begin to engage with Tauros. Tauros will talk to you about various things and be like, hey, we're trying to build this airship. We're having some trouble. Our scouts are thin. Can you help us out? And at some point, there will be a dialogue option. So here. So, will you help me? You have 2 options here. What about the scouts? And you can count on me. If you say what about the scouts, which is the default choice, there's a longer text thing here. And so you want to say you can count on me, but you also want to mash your way through the text. So what you do for this is just mash on the down button while Tauros is talking and also mash your way through the text. And hopefully you happen to mash down before you select, hey, Minfin, welcome. How was your first experience with Greek? So we're in the middle of a tutorial here, so I'm mostly going to be engaging with the tutorial stuff, and if you don't want to get spoiled on anything, I do recommend, yes. So after you talk to Tauros and you get your quest, you need to go out to the left to Valora Waterfalls, because what he's asked you to do is go to Valora Waterfalls and pick up 4 pieces of rope. All right, where do we find rope? Well, it turns out it's kind of scattered all over, but the first place is down here and to the right. And we want to get this first because we're not going to get a chance to come back here on the way back to town. If you fall back down here on the way back to town, you have to go around a really long way, and that kind of stinks. That monster that I killed can be in a lot of different places. You can either kill it for safety or you can try to dodge it. So when you're picking up an item like this, when you're interacting with stuff, you can actually use your sword slash to cancel the animation to some extent. So when I pick up this rope, I'm also going to sword slash, and I'm also going to move left, and that's going to let me move left a little bit while I'm picking up the item. Now, as soon as the text box pops up, it cancels my animation cancel. So that's something to be aware of. So you're going to get that rope. You're going to move over to left. I'm not going to bother talking too much about enemy optimizations, but we're basically going to be heading over this way. Remember that you can bounce off of the top of the water there to move smoothly through that area. Again, a little bit of water. We're going to swim down here. These mushrooms are basically spring pads. And and we're gonna move left into this cave. So there's this platform down here. You don't want to land on the higher platform because it makes it hard to see where you're jumping. So from up here, you really do want to jump and then do a double jump close to the ground so you don't stagger, and then pop on that mushroom. Continuing on a little bit farther to the left, our second piece of rope is actually going to be over here. So what we're going to do is we need to grab this platform and pull it over a little ways. So there's right behind Greak, I don't know if you can see it, but there's just like a little notch. And I'm going to... there's just like a little bit of a notch right behind him. So we're going to pull the platform to about there, and then we're going to let it go and head up here. And then you want to dodge roll and coyote jump off of that to make that platform from there. And you'll basically just be able to make it. If you're a little bit late on it because you get hit by something, you might have to mantle up on the platform, but as long as you make the jump, it's fine. So we're gonna cancel that animation again to get a little bit of distance while we're waiting for the text box to play out. Here, so on these mushrooms, you jump onto the mushroom and then basically double jump right at the apex of it, and that will land you on the second mushroom exactly. And that is basically the slick way of doing that. I'm a little low on health. Forgive me. I'm gonna take a quick safety save here just so that in case anything bad happens. So this Erlog is here and can be a little bit of a pain in your butt, but usually he navigates out of your way. Grab this mushroom and eat it. But right down here is going to be your third piece of rope. So just for landmarking, you've got this save point, and then you've got this climb. And down here, you've got this third piece of rope. So we're going to do that animation cancel again. And climb back up. Now, we did pass a door. This is kind of on our way. So you can do this first. You can do this later. I like to do it last, personally, but it doesn't really matter because you do have to retread this little bit of distance either way. And so what we're going to do is you can actually animation cancel on door transitions as well so that you can dodge enemies because you can get hit going through door transitions. You can cancel like healing item, like mushroom pickups. Again, you don't have to kill any of the, you don't strictly speaking have to kill any of the enemies in this room. It's not 100% required. But at the left end of this room is this. And killing that Erlog, the guy with the chain, is actually the thing that causes those other two enemies to spawn. So really what I like to do there is dodge roll my way through him, pick up the thing, and then dodge roll my way back and use the animation cancel on the door to make sure that I don't get hit on my way out. Coming back here, you're going to do the same thing on these mushrooms. Coming back, you're just going to do that double jump at the apex after the first bounce. And so now I think I want to be explicit that in a lot of cases, being able to strike at full speed while you're running allows you to stagger enemies that would otherwise attack you so that you can keep moving. And so if you need to avoid a dodge roll in order to do that, you know, it's better to slash while moving than take a hit or by dodge rolling right into an enemy attack. It is very important when you're coming back here that you do not fall down here. If you need to take the slow to avoid falling down, do so. But if you fall down here, there is no way for you to get back up without going all the way around this way. So now, right, here's an extra point of health. That's great. And there's a mushroom up there, but like you have to swim around this rock, and you know the mushroom is not really on the way. And now, you know, we're all the way back here. So, hey, nice health point. So yeah, so you really do, you can drop off of this and jump, drop off of this and jump, double jump and jump if you want to do fancy movement. But either way, we're going to make our way back in to Raven's Road Camp, and we're going to return these pieces of rope to Tauros. Now, a little optimization here, make sure that you're on Tauros's right-hand side before you talk to him, because I'm going to show you something really quickly. So I'm on Tauros's left side. If I hit B, I automatically go to Tauros's right side. Greek will always go to Tauros's right side to talk to him. And he'll always do that at his regular walking speed. So if you dodge roll here and then talk, that's actually a little bit faster. I have to think that like Tauros thinks that that's like, oh, it's a little kid. I'm like not gonna say anything about it because like he's got, you know, Chu Nibyo or whatever. Like dodge rolling in to talk to me, because I know if somebody dodge rolled in and then immediately started talking to me, I think it's a little bit weird. This is Zach. If you talk to him, he'll give you quests that get you new sword abilities, and none of them are worth it for the any % run. So we don't do that. If you were doing all relics, you would need to, because one of the last things that he gives you on his quest line is a relic. Heading to the right, because we need to go to the Vega Marshes now to get some magic liquid. And to get to Vega Marshes, we have to go through Zindra Forest. There's this Erlog is always here. If you're fast, you can kind of move the gate up. Oh, jeez, wow, I got caught out there. You can move the gate up and dodge roll under it without bothering to fight and kill the Erlog. It depends on the Erlog's movement RNG. It's not guaranteed that you'll be able to get through without fighting him, because if you grab the crank and he hits you, you'll let go of it. So sometimes you'll be forced to fight him, and there's just nothing you can really do about that. You've just got to take the fights when you get them. Again, just kind of, you know, moving on, grabbing a little bit of health items. It's pretty much a straight shot to the right, taking the upper path here, and up here, you know, you can, if you want to, you can do a boingy on that mushroom, and boinging on the mushroom is basically a jump from about there. And then you do have to raise this gate. There are a couple of these throughout here. This next swingy rope, if you swing over here, the crank from this side is broken, and we never come through from the other side. So when you hit this rope right here, you're gonna actually go down and just fall down here, because otherwise you'll get hit by that, by the pollen from that. So you're gonna come here. You're basically just gonna fall, double jump to blunt, and jump up there. So coming up here, that chest just has money in it. We're not going to open chests in general unless we have to. You're going to fall over here. We're going a little bit out of our way so that we can activate this fast travel stone, because we want to have access to this later. This is a small time loss in terms of getting to Vega Marshes. In exchange for a big time save later. It lets us actually skip a dialogue that would otherwise be forced, as well as saving a big retread through the first part of the forest. But coming down and around from there to the left, we're now in Vega Marshes. Vega Marshes is a little bit of a weird egg. It's got these big vines. We never see them again anywhere else in the run. That you have to whack them a couple of times. And so, there's really only one path to go from here. Wow, these things, those spiky things are mean. So right here where this second rope is and this little platform, you're actually just gonna fall straight down here and to the left. And off of this cliff is the first boss fight of the run. Now, the cutscene for the boss fight does not start until Greek hits the ground. So there's a little platform on the lower left of the screen. And I think you can probably see it from both positions. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to this. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double jump so that I land here, close to the left edge of the right platform. And the reason that I'm going to do that is I'm going to immediately jump over here. And when this guy spawns, I'm going to whack him. And if you're lucky, you can actually kill him before he disappears. These guys are a little bit RNG. They're difficult to pin down, and they teleport. So this fight can be a real pain in the butt. The boss himself, you're basically going to be trying to land on top of him and chase him with your sword as much as possible. So he's gonna appear over here. I'm gonna try, oh, no, I didn't do that. So I wanna see if I can, here, like this, I'm basically chasing him and just slashing the whole time, and that gets a lot more hits. Now, one thing that you can do to make that fight go faster is actually stop and buy some whetstones from Valgor, so you do 50% more damage, which means he takes fewer hits to kill. But when he dies, he's going to drop the silver crest, and we're going to come over here and put that into this machine, and that's going to raise the door. In this area, you want to be super careful about dodge rolling. Because the game does some weird things with the clipping and the water. This scout is often right here in an inconvenient place, so you do want to be a little bit careful of him. There's a fast travel stone here. We're forced to activate it, but it's good because we are actually going to be using that in the not too distant future. This, in particular, you can get clipped into this log and just forced to drown. There is no way out if you get clipped into it, so just be a little careful there. It's preferable to go a little bit slowly. So here we find these little crawl tunnels. Greak can crawl in these tunnels, but neither of his siblings can. So this acts as a mechanical gate for movement, you know, switching around between areas that Greak can go and areas that other siblings cannot go. So we're in the part of Vega Marshes where we actually do have these pumps. So you can place a container down here, you pull this, and every time you do this, a bunch of enemies are gonna spawn. And so you're gonna pick up the bottle and run, basically. I got hit there. It's not necessary to take a hit if you spawn a little, or if you stand a little farther away from where that enemy spawns. All three of those are gonna spawn in the same place every time. You can do this without getting hit. This area also features a bunch of light puzzles, so whenever I'm holding this crank, it'll shoot out a beam of light. If I let go of the crank, the beam of light will slowly fade away. And if I point it at one of these stones, something will happen. So in this case, it's a floating platform, and most of them are floating platforms. But there are also these reflectors. And the reflectors, you get to see the trajectory of reflection, but there's no actual light here. So even if I were to get this aimed at the stone, because Greak is not holding the crank for the light projector, nothing will happen. But so this, this is the introductory puzzle. You basically want this cranked just a little bit clockwise of 90 degrees, just straight vertical, like it is here, to get this. And then you'll be able to, jump your way across. You don't have to go around and use the vines here. You can actually just, fell down there. The mud makes you move very slowly. Don't fall in it. You can actually just hop up here. Up here, so there's another light puzzle here. You can slash those darts, by the way. They're really annoying, but you can slash them. There's another light puzzle for that platform. Ooh, geez. Let's go ahead and use that. If you need to go chase that scout away, then do. But you don't actually have to move the floating platform at all. If you climb up as high as you can and then right as far as you can use your double jump to climb up here. And that gives you access to this area. Now, if I hit the ground underneath this cliff, it's going to add those that black letterboxing from the dream sequence, and Greak is going to start plotting again. So actually what you want to do is, again, double jump to get as much distance as possible at your default run speed before you start plotting. When you move over far enough, you'll find Adara. There's going to be some text mashing and a lovely, adorable hug. They're so cute. They're just really cute. I love how cute they are. And also, like, they say that to say that things are good, they say that it is light. It is light that you are okay. The game will force control of Adara onto you. You'll generally want to switch back to Greak here. And climb your way back out. Now, there is another one of those things to the right where that scout was and where the light puzzle was, but we're not going to do that yet because that's going to be on our way out. So we're gonna, this is another one of those, you know, the siblings hold the buttons. You do need to take both of them through for this. And I'm gonna go ahead and save my game here just to make sure nothing bad happens. All right, so now here you need Adara on the crank so that Greek can go across. This one is this puzzle is really finicky. So you need to send the floating platform across a little bit, and once you've done that, you'll crank this up a little bit, not quite that far, probably about here, so that it's kind of like tangent to the circle over here. Hey, it's math, it's geometry. And then you're going to send this kind of here and adjust these until your reflected beam of light kind of comes off the edge of that second. So, so see how it's coming right off of the corner there? That's about where you want it. And you definitely don't want to fall in the mud because then you have to go all the way back. And then you're going to take this and basically just crank it until the reflected light hits this. Now Greek can let go of the reflectors and the light will continue, but the door will close if Adara lets go. So we'll send Greek in here, and he is going to pick up another jar here. There's going to be some more enemy spawns. That one you pretty much actually have to kill because it spawns right on top of you, right on top of where you want to pick it up. And then we'll just grab the jar and exit, and make our way back and grab Adara. Now, the way that I disengaged Adara from this, I actually want to just talk about this real quick, is I used I have Greek here, and I used regroup, and Adara will let go and run to me. And that's often a really fast way to get characters to let go of cranks and other like interaction objects without switching characters around. So once again, we are going to open this button, but we're going to leave Adara here now. And this time, Greek is going to go over here by himself, and put this jar in. This enemy down here actually won't come up and attack you, so you can actually just kind of go back that way. And now we're going to send Greek back around to the start. So this is going to look weird if you've played the game casually, because casually you're supposed to take them kind of back down into kind of the depths and solve some more light puzzles and fight a boss, and then you find a bronze crest that you come back around to the area where you found Adara and stick it into a gate and come out in the Vlora waterfalls. We're not going to do any of that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to send Greek all the way up through the crawl caverns up to that upper area. There's a rope that leads you across to this treasure chest, and now we're going to do a glitch. So this game has a glitch called remote interaction, is the general class of glitches. This particular implementation of it is called a chest warp. So what I'm going to do is I am going to open this chest with B at the same time that I use down to switch siblings. I am not going to use right to select Adara directly. That is not going to work. I'm going to use down to switch siblings. So I'm going to be on Greek. I'm going to hit down and B at the same time, and it thinks Adara is opening the chest, and because the script requires Adara to be in position to open the chest, she teleports right over here to where the chest is. Now, it's important to note, and this is actually really important because you can get confused otherwise, that Adara does not have the item from the chest in her inventory. Greek has that item in his inventory, and actually that's what we want. We want Greek to be carrying the whetstone because Adara can't use it. But this zaps her out of here without her having to be able to crawl through caves, which she can't do, and now we can just go back down here, run to the teleport stone, and teleport back to Raven's Road Camp. We don't have to fight the boss. We don't have to find the bronze crest. We don't have to take that whole roundabout route. We're just going to take this fast travel stone and go back to Raven's Road Camp and turn in the quest. That's it. That's the end of that. Now, we're going to leave Adara by the teleport stone because we're going to go back to Zindra Forest very soon, and it's faster to move Greek around. So Greek is going to go talk to Tauros again and turn in those jars. And Tauros is going to be like, well, I don't have any more jobs for you, but Valgor might. So Greek is going to come over here and talk to Valgor, and Valgor is going to be like, hey, I have this unrefined Lorien metal. Lorien is very strong. It's what Greek's sword is made out of. But the only place that you can smelt it is the old abandoned Lyser Fortress. So take this key and take this unrefined Lorien metal and go smelt it for me. Go to Lyser Fortress and smelt it for me. It's totally reasonable to entrust your valuable metal to a kid. Or two kids in this case. I think that's a very smart decision. And Lyser Fortress is just past the Zindra Forest, and so the fastest way for us to get there is to take this teleport stone back over here. So this is why I went out of my way earlier to get this teleport stone. If you instead try to exit Raven's Road Camp to the right into Zindra Forest and retrace all of your steps all the way through here, there is also a forced dialogue with the camp scouts at the right side of the village. So you actually, in addition to having to retrace a whole bunch more steps, you also lose time to that forced dialogue. So in this case, once we teleport to the stone, we're going to climb these vines all the way to the top, way up here. This, you can go left and around, but it sucks. From about here, you can jump, and you can, it's a little bit tricky, but you can just get both of them up there like that. There is another option if you're feeling a little bit frisky, is you can just take Greek up there, and there is another opportunity to chest warp. So you don't actually have to get an item from a chest in order to chest warp. You just have to use a treasure chest, and there just so happens to be one here. So you can chest warp Adara over here like that, and just send Greek up to start with, if you so choose. Now there's actually 2 enemy spawns over here. You use the key to open this, and now this other enemy is spawned over here finally. And if you get a delayed spawn on that thing, it's a pain in the butt because it will come and like attack whoever's on the crank. But so Greek is going to crank this up just a little. It doesn't have to be up too much. She can swim underneath it pretty easily. And then Adara is going to come through here. You are pretty much forced to at least kill half of that enemy to get through, because otherwise he'll whack you going through the door. You can kill that one pretty quickly. Adara holds onto that crank. This enemy respawned, so that's fun. That is a thing that can happen. Please make sure that you have health. There's also a couple of healing items right here if you need to pick up some more recovery. Once we're here, I'm going to go ahead and regroup here, and we're going to run our siblings to the end. Greek can be a little bit ahead of Adara here, because exiting between areas with 2 siblings, when you're walking back and forth and you're not using the teleport stones, there's actually a confirmation button that pops up that you have to hit. And so that actually gives the other sibling a little bit of time to catch up. So you'll see that here is it'll say A to confirm exit. And so there was time for Adara to get into the exit and come along with Greek. So here, welcome to Lyser Fortress. Another one of these switch puzzles. And then we're going to leave Greek here for a second. Kill this, wait for our... So you are not supposed to be able to make this jump, but for some reason you can. You're supposed to go a way around to the right and then come up through this upper area here. Like, you're supposed to take a long roundabout way over this way and then come back like this. And then, you know, use these to get yourself up here. But because Adara can hit that wall, you can skip doing all of that. It is much faster to do this side of the fortress from right here. And Greek is actually capable of jumping quite high, so you don't even need to lower the ladder all the way. Like, it starts about there, but if you lower it to there, Greek can grab onto it, and then you're done. and you can move on. Coming up this second ladder, you see these cages. So this is a waiting puzzle, and you actually do need both siblings in order to make the jumps here. So we're gonna stick Greek right there, and that is going to allow Adara to make her way across down here, and she's going to grab this ancient gear. Now you need 2 of these gears in order to advance. And so we're gonna switch off of Adara and grab Greek and bring him over here. And then we're gonna hop over this way, back the way that they expected us to go, or back the way they expected us to come from. And then in this door to the right of the save stones, you're gonna see there's gonna be these chains here. There's like a little elevator down there, and there's a crank. You're supposed to use that to get up here in the first place. Whatever, we'll raise it a little bit later. You can raise it a little bit now in preparation for using it a little bit later. It doesn't really matter. We'll come in this door. There's another couple of waiting puzzles here that we need both siblings for. Generally speaking, if we can leave somebody behind, we want to. But the first part of this can be done with Adara alone. She's capable of just floating over here just all by herself. And she'll lower the ladder for Greek, and Greek can again jump quite high. And we'll regroup them and move them over to the other side. Oh, come with me. I cut that a little too close to the corner. The hitboxes on the different siblings are actually different from one another. So they will hit terrain collision at different times. Again, we're gonna leave Greek on that and send Adara over. Adara is going to lower this ladder for Greek, who is going to come over. And Adara is again going to grab this. We're going to wait for that to come up and move on out of here. So again, it is technically possible to leave Greek where he is and chest warp him instead of taking him with you. I don't believe that it saves enough time over the other use of that chest warp to really be worth it. Okay, we're fine on health actually. So down here there are these fire-breathing things on the walls. You want to be careful of them. You want to not take too many hits because the next boss is a bit of a doozy. Your Greek can't jump his way up here by himself. He does need to use the waiting system, but Adara actually can make this by herself, just floating. What's supposed to happen is you send one sibling up and around, and then they come down on the right side and open a door crank, and we're just not going to do any of that. One more button puzzle, if you can call it that. I'm going to take a quick save here. So the next boss is this Erlog Bonebreaker. And so he has 2 basic attacks. He'll either jump and slam his hammer into the ground, after which he will do a secondary slam if you are too close. Or he'll do this charge and then stun himself into the wall temporarily. When you get him to about half health, he'll start slamming the ground in anger, and then he'll start doing all of his attacks 3 times. So he'll get 3 jumps, or he'll run into the wall 3 times before he gets stunned. So let's see if we can... Oh, I actually got murdered there. So it's really easy to get yourself killed in this fight. So the safe way to do this is actually to only take Greek down there, and that way you don't have to worry about managing siblings. Because regrouping them, if they get separated, it can be an issue. And whenever he collides with something, it knocks you into the air, and then you don't get a jump. Yeah, see, that time she didn't get a jump because she was in midair at the time. So it's usually productive to be a little bit careful with these attacks. So there's 3 charges, and then he stuns. He'll do the 3 jump again. If you do take both of your siblings, of course, both of them kill him faster than just one of them. So that is the speed strat. Greek is the one who has the Lorien. So Adara has to be the one to crank this thing down here. Greek deposits the Lorien in and then pulls the switch, summons Adara over, and then Adara is going to be the one to pick up the Lorien. You want to switch to her and then spam B basically on this spot until the Lorien spawns and you pick it up. After you do that, she'll have a little cutscene where she sees visions of their older brother Radel, and then it will be time to leave. As you can see, this is one where you do actually have to have both siblings on it. After you get both siblings, well, you don't actually have to have both siblings here. I just realized this. I actually just realized this making this tutorial. Once this gate is open, you can actually just send Greek through, because he can pull this crank by himself. He's going to go ahead and grab a whetstone here. And then, again, be careful of the fire. You don't want to lose too much health here. We're going to send Greek all the way up here. This one just stays open on its own, and we're going to chest warp Adara up over here to get her out. So you can do that. You don't have to worry about them. Whether you do this elevator up now or later, you do need a little bit of extra height in order to make it out of there, but then you can just easily get out of there. At this point, you're basically just dropping down to continue your way out of Lyser Fortress. So we get our siblings on the buttons, and we get ourselves out of the fortress. And we do have to walk a little bit of a ways back. This portion, unfortunately, this walk back, there is nothing to be done about this. You just do the run, and we bring both siblings all the way up until we hit the crank. And crank, send one of them in and under. It does not really matter which sibling does which. If you didn't do the chest warp earlier, then you could theoretically do it now, but you would have to go here and then up and around, and that seems like it would be slower. I haven't timed it out, but I'm pretty sure that it's not worth it. So at this point, we're basically just running back to the fast travel point, and we are going to head down here and hit this fast travel point and go back to Raven's Road Camp. Now, there is a very specific reason why Adara should have the Lorien. And the reason is for the very next glitch that we're going to use. So the same remote interaction glitch that allows us to chest warp will also allow Adara to walk through walls. Now, there's somebody that we're looking to find. His name is Farven. And he's important for the next quest. But the easiest way to get to him is through this door here in the storehouse, which we would have opened from the other side if we had left Vega Marshes the way that we were intended to. But we didn't. And that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to use the remote interaction glitch to turn the Lorien into Valgor from here. And what's going to happen is that there is a scripted walk when you talk to people. I showed you this before. If you talk to Tauros from the left-hand side, you get walked to the right-hand side. So when Adara talks to Valgor, she's going to do a scripted walk over to the X coordinate that she needs to be at to talk to him, and then she's going to talk to him. This is going to allow her to turn in the Lorien, but it's also going to put her on the other side of this gate. Bloop. And so we're basically just going to tech smash through this, and Valgor is going to take the Lorien from us and give us a quest to go get into Sork Ashen and pursue our brother into Arcantos Temple. And in order to do that, we need to make a bridge to Sork Ashen, because the old one was damaged, and now there's just a big death pit there that nobody can get through. And for navigating this death pit, we actually need the help of two not super duper friendly lumberjacks, Yensi and Farven. Now, Yensi is the friendlier of the two, but Farven is hanging out in a little cave over here. And doesn't really trust people. So we're not going to get Yensi to do anything by himself. And what's going to happen is Farven is going to give us a letter. And that letter is going to prove to Farven that we are friends of Yensi and thus trustworthy. And then Farven is going to come help Yensi chop a tree down. We need somebody close enough to talk to Farven to turn the letter in. But they are pretty far away from each other in Velora Waterfalls. So we don't really want to run all the way from Yensi to Farven. That's slow. So we are going to walk Adara through a wall, put her next to Farven, go back to Greak, have Greak run his way across the top of Velora Waterfalls, and he's going to talk to Yensi and get the letter. Then he's going to run all the way back across the top of Velora Waterfalls, and we're going to remote interact. So the glitch where you talk to people remotely, either to walk through walls or turn in items from very far away, this glitch is called Spooky Banter at a Distance. And this is one of the 3 major glitches that are used in the run. Almost everything else in the run is just, platforming and routing and navigation. But those 3, or the 3 glitches that are there are there. So we're going to switch back to Adara. We're going to remote talk to Farven and deliver the letter. We're only going to see Greek's side of the conversation, but also turning this in is going to teleport both of us over to Yensi and Farven. We're going to have a little conversation with them. It's just a little more text mashing, and they are going to cut down this tree. It is not entirely clear to me why Yensi needs Farven. Farven does almost nothing on that tree. It's just, yeah. But so now we have a bridge here, and we can cross over into Sork Ashen. Sork Ashen is kind of a icy, deserty wasteland space. There are lots of bonfires here, lit and unlit, and you are supposed to carry torches around to melt ice blocks and relight bonfires to solve various puzzles. And honestly, we're barely gonna do any of that. So we're gonna send Greek up over this way, and this is pretty normal. Everything's normal so far. And then we are going to go ahead and wheel ourselves up here. Even if we take a little damage, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and use the small elixir just to heal for safety's sake. And then it turns out we can use our torches. So this is a bonfire. You pick up a torch from it, and you can use the torch to fly. So if you pick up the torch again mid-air, you get your double jump back. If you do this in rapid succession, you can fly wherever. So this is a trick called Firefly, and it basically makes it so you don't have to do any of Sork Ashen. So once we're here, we're going to come here. We are going to Firefly our way across if we can not botch it. Again, if something damages you while you're cranking, then you're going to lose the crank. But the theoretical fastest way to do this is to ignore those flies. You can get rid of them. You can stop and kill them. And in fact, I think I do that in most of my runs. But you do not have to. It is not required. So you can just, assuming that you're not bad. All right. We're going to go ahead and get some more healing items. Those little blue versions of the birds will turn you into an icicle if they hit you. It is bad news bears. So Firefly, and then once you're over here, we melt this ice block. You don't have to light the bonfire, but you can if you're concerned about it. And then we chest chest warp Adara over here. And we're in the clear. So at this point, we basically just run to the left. There's a teleport stone. We don't need it. You can pick up a couple of healing items there if you need a safety. And we just run to the left. You'll skip past that guy. He's a merchant. He sells some stuff. If you really want to, you can buy an Azur infusion from him, which is basically a revive item. If you die, it will restore your health. It will restore 2 points of health to you, and it's used immediately upon dying. So that's an option as a safety as well. So that's the entirety of Sorgashen. That is Firefly. We'll be using Firefly a lot here in Lyser Fortress. Whatever, that's fine. So to start here, Adara is going to go and move that brazier into place, and then she's going to pull that switch to lower the water. You want to do it in that order. Move the brazier first, then lower the water. And then pop Adara over there up by that upper brazier. It is worth it because it saves a bunch of time on the exit to Firefly over here and light that brazier just to melt that ice. But the important thing after this is that we are going to pick up a torch here, and at some point I'm actually going to pull this trick off correctly. Wow. Oh, that's interesting. It has physics interactions with the hooks. And we're glitched. Something, okay, there we go. So if you let yourself get a little lower on that, you'll avoid those physics interactions with the grappling hooks. So we'll Firefly our way across the bridge over there. That was very interesting. I actually did not know that those things would interact with the hooks like that. Once you light that brazier, you're free to come over this way. When this guy charges at you, you can just jump over him. A single jump will clear him every time. And then over here, you pretty much have to fight this Erlog, but with Greak and Adara on it together, it's not that big of a deal. We are bringing Adara over here because we strictly speaking need her. She is necessary for this catapult to get Greak up here. Now the way that this puzzle is supposed to work, you are supposed to grab a torch from up here, use it to melt the blocks all the way down here. There's another brazier down there, and then you move the ladder back and forth, and you get a torch on the ladder. One sibling moves the ladder from below, the other one melts the ice blocks, and then you get up to the brazier on the right. That takes a long time. So once we do the catapult up here, we are just going to Firefly our way across this ice bridge because to avoid it melting on us, we'll light that brazier. We'll pick up a new torch from over here, and this is a little bit tricky, but basically you can catch it again. You can catch the torch again on the rebound off of the wall, and that will let you double jump up here, where you can pick up the Sun Crest. So we'll go ahead and get the Sun Crest. We'll go ahead and send ourselves back down. You do not need any torches or fireflies here. We're actually going to leave Adara here. She's going to sit there on that platform for a little while until our next chest warp. We're gonna drop down here. It's hard to gauge the timing to avoid the stagger, but if you can, that's obviously better. We're gonna grab a torch from here, drop down here, drop the torch down here. This was not quite in the right spot. It is a little bit safer, but a little bit slower to just like let Greak fall straight down, if you know where, and light this brazier. We do actually have to light the brazier there. That is strictly required because we're gonna have to pull this across. We'll pull a new torch out of it, and again, we're gonna try to catch this off the rebound a couple of times to melt that ice and Firefly our way through without raising things. There's another whetstone in this chest. Again, pick that one up. And we're just going to, you can basically just dodge roll through this entire segment. The birds won't catch up to you, and you'll get out through the place past where they'll turn around. There's another brazier here. Now you kind of have two options here. The easy thing to do is Firefly your way up here, or, you know, up here and light this brazier. But it is also possible, I'm going to try to demonstrate it, but I don't always get it, to basically fly yourself up through that gap without ever stopping to light the brazier. Like that, basically. And then, you know, without lighting the brazier, you actually can carry the torch from below. But if you don't, for any reason, you can just grab this one. And Firefly this over. You're supposed to have to solve a waiting puzzle over here again. You're supposed to need both siblings, but you don't. Greak can do this by himself, and it's faster. And then you get the moon crest once you melt that. And then here's another chest, so we're going to chest warp again. And Greak has both of the crests, so we want him in charge. We're going to put one over here and one over here, and that's going to let us out into the gardens. When we arrive at the gardens, the very first thing that we're going to do is pop a Dara right there and kill this hive. You can technically get by without doing this, but it is so much of a pain, and it does not take that long to kill the hive. I highly recommend you kill the hive. Now, I want to show you, there's a bunch more puzzles here, so that you eventually go up through here and then around over to the left on top to go around here. We're, instead of doing that, just going to... Oh, oops. Wow, I did not mean to walk out the door, but I dropped the torch in a place where I can't interact with it. We're not going to do that. Instead, we are just going to Firefly our way over. Now, if you're wondering why I'm flying from all the way over there, fireflying is actually faster than walking with a torch because you do get a little bit of time at your normal horizontal movement speed while the torch is released. So it is actually faster to Firefly than it is to just do a straight walk. But if you're having problems with it, you know, you can walk it most of the way over and just do a little Firefly up on a ledge. Up here, if you could remember to, and I admittedly often can't, if Greak and Adara are separated enough, you can set that so to where you have them just like in position to like switch and interact to open up with this. But here you'll find the light seal. And upon triggering this cutscene, we will gain control of the older brother, Radel, who will swing into Arcantos Temple from a different place. Radel has a shield, and he can change the direction that he points it. He has a grappling hook, and grappling hook can be used to interact with these grapple points. It can also be used to interact with walls and enemies. An important thing about Radel is that when he's on the ground swinging his sword, he stops moving. He's not like Greak. He cannot like run and swing at the same time. You cannot switch to your siblings here, so as much as I would have liked to chest warp somebody around at this point, it is just not possible. Depending on where this Erlog is, you might not have to fight him. If you do, he doesn't take that many swings. Radel's sword is stronger than Greak's. He deals 3 or 4 points of damage per strike, depending on where he is in his combo. This is locked, so we need to go find a key. We're gonna go down here. My shield is up. It should be down. And so you can block these shots with your shield, but you move slower while you're equipped with your shield. So you want to kind of block them just ad hoc as you go. And then over here you're gonna. Oops. Radel can't swim, by the way. That is important. So you, what you want to do over here is this, and then hook that to move a little faster. Kill that bird, and then hook again to get over here. Pulling this switch, you'll hook those two but not the last one. And then you double jump to make it to the end where you pull the third hook. There is another one of these here. Again, you only want to use your shield the very moment that you need it. And you don't want to use your shield here at all if you can avoid it. Now you can double jump this way and just hook over to the other side. If you can get both hooks, that's the fastest. So what you want that to look like from here is like that. And you can just jump past that. It's not that hard to avoid unless it's coming out right behind you. You key, you open the switch, double jump here, and grab that hook. You can stop and kill that bird, but a lot of times you can actually just grab right onto the ladder and climb up. If you need health, you want to jump and swing so that you get to keep moving and pick up that health. And then one more thing, and this is a little bit funky, is as you're falling down here, I'm gonna actually try to demonstrate this. You want to fall this way, grab that, and then grab the ceiling where you can to kind of get optimal speed. I didn't do a good job of showing the movement, but because you can grapple onto walls and ceilings, you can get a little extra speed that way when you're controlling Radel by himself. The younger siblings can't come along for the ride on the grappling hook, so don't think that you're going to get a lot of speed that way. Unfortunately, that's just not how it works. So this boss fight, the big mechanic of this is that you can grapple onto his shield and pull it away. When you grapple onto it, you're going to press your attack button to pull his shield away. As soon as you land on the ground, you're going to press jump repeatedly to get back up. And you just want to keep pulling him to where Adara can attack him as well. And he'll drop the light seal. And then as soon as you grab that, you immediately go over and talk to Greak. There's going to be a really touching family reunion here. Hugs! And now we have all three siblings together. And remember, Radel can't swim, and we have to cross some water to get back, so we are going to have to worry about that a little bit. And that is something that we are going to see right now. So we're basically just we're gonna run to the right and get ourselves all out of here. There are not really convenient places to chest warp. Oh, I forgot. If you do get hit with that charge slash, it freezes you. So that's funny. That's a funny story. There's some berries there for extra health if you really need them. So we're gonna make our way out of here. And this is the reason why I lit this brazier earlier, is having this means we don't have to go any like weird funky ways. Once we hit here, Radel's going to just grapple over there and double jump. You don't have to hit both grapple points. And then, you know, the littler kids can just you know, do their thing. It's good to walk them all over together. It's technically possible to run Greak all the way over, but basically once the dialogue starts, the other siblings will run over to talk to him, and you will have to wait for them to run to the appropriate spot. But once this dialogue triggers, there will automatically be just a cutscene warp back to camp. You don't have to walk all the way back to camp yourself. We arrive back to camp to find that the Erlog's attacked and things are in a kind of a dire situation. We need to get the heck out of here. They had a water seal, and they sent an expedition out to get a primeval crib, which is a magic stone that they can use to power their airship. And so that expedition never came back. So they're asking us to go check on them in the Varain ruins. We're going to go left into the Valora waterfalls. That is going to be the way that we get to the Varain ruins. And we are just... one of the things that we have to be careful about is Radel can't fall here. Because down there is a whole bunch of water. And Radel is allergic to water. So we're basically just going to run down this way. And I'm being a little bit sloppy with my staggers. But you don't want to be, ideally, because if your characters stagger, then they'll separate from one another, and that will make it hard to move them around. If they do stagger, try to stop moving and regroup. So that, again, we're just going to jump over that guy's charge. And then, so down here and to the left here, we could have gone here earlier in the game, but it wouldn't have done us any good because there wouldn't be anything that we could do. We would have been locked out of the interior of the Verrain Ruins, and as far as I know, there's no way to skip into it. So, this takes us into the second to last area of the game, the Verrain Ruins. And so in the Verrain Ruins, we are going to basically come down here. And there's a lot of we're gonna just jump over a bunch of enemies on our way into the area. So there's a big door here. This would have been closed earlier, but now they used the water seal to open it so that they could come in here and get the primeval creep. We're gonna jump over another one of these guys. And of course, I will take a quick save just in case, you know, something dire happens during the tutorial. We don't lose a whole bunch of progress. There's another fast travel stone here. This is really, that's for casuals. We're not going to use it. Nothing against casuals, just that like it doesn't factor into the speed run. So Radel can grapple onto these, which is in fact very important. We're going to use that a lot. But also if he rings these bells, they turn into platforms. Now the littler kids can't make that jump. Even Adara can't really. Well, nope. Yeah, even Adara can't make her way up there quite. I'm curious. I'm actually going to take one more try at it. Looks like no. It looks like there might be like some condition under which it's possible, but it's very tight. In any case, you kind of need Adara elsewhere anyway. It doesn't help unless you can get Greak up there too. These laser beams here, I want these regrouped, and I want to be controlling Radel. That's the problem. I switched around to mess around. These laser beams can be blocked by Radel's shield. I don't really understand why a shield blocks laser beams, but it does. So you're going to group them all up together and walk them under Radel's shield. And then Radel's just going to nope out. Enemies can get killed by those lasers as well, so that's something to know. But we're not going to see that many of them. Radel is going to yoink himself all the way over here. So this is this big door over here. And the same interaction point that we had in Arcantos, where we needed 2 characters to interact. This needs 3 characters to interact in order to open the door. So we're going to bring Radel down here and kill that bird. And these characters, you know, Greak and Adara are going to make their way into this water area. The birds also actually die. Okay, so there's 2 ways to do this. There is the safe way and there is the not safe way. If you are doing the not safe way, you want your characters separated a little bit like this. Adara is a strong swimmer and gets a large oxygen meter with slow depletion. Greak is a weak swimmer and his oxygen depletes rapidly. And so he's going to take a lot of damage until we get over these bubbles. So he took 2 points of damage. And if you are not careful and Adara eats all the bubbles on the other side of that swim, then Greak can drown. And that's not great. The slower way to do it, but the safer way to do it, is actually to put Greak on the right-hand side, on the other side of this wall, leave him there, swim Adara around, and crank this open. It is slower. It's 5 to 10 seconds slower. So it is productive to get Greak across here and eat the damage. Once we have these characters over here, Adara is gonna nope out. Basically, she can just climb those platforms. She's not really supposed to be able to, but it turns out that she can. And so that's good enough for us. These crawl tunnels, as I mentioned before, are Greak only. So Greak is gonna make his way through these. And there is this really tantalizing looking platform up there, and again, Greak is not supposed to be able to make this jump, but it turns out that he's just about able to. So we're gonna go ahead and hit that. And now we have Greek up here as well. And so that concludes the ruins puzzle-solving portion of the Varain ruins. We get all 3 characters over here, and they will open the door. And this will open the door to our boss encounter for this. Once you are in this room, you cannot leave, so make sure that you are prepared. There are a couple of health berries here. I'm going to go ahead and grab them now just as a safety for the tutorial. I don't usually do this in runs. Greek is going to drop 2 whetstones, and Radel is going to pick them up. This transfer of whetstones, transfer of wealth stones, is pretty important because Greek will not be fighting the final boss with his siblings. So we found the expedition. What that big Erlog conqueror stole our primeval crib. And both of our sword users are going to use whetstones now. Right before we go into the battle, and that's going to increase both of their damage by 1 per hit. That's going to be really important. So these bells are basically a stun mechanic, and so basically I messed up there. I was not supposed to get hit by him, but every time you hit the bell when he's kind of in range, he'll do one of 2 things. He'll either get stunned, or he'll pull out the primeval crib and like cause an earthquake, which can get rid of the bell. You can stun him up to twice with each bell, and if you do get 2 stuns off on him with the first bell or this second bell down here, you can kill him right there, and that's the quick kill. That is the quick kill. If you don't have a bell available, he will slash you and stun you, and then he will pick you up and encase you in plague, and if he does that to all 3 of your characters, they die. They can be freed by their siblings. It's a really hard fight if you let anybody get encased. Once you're done with the fight, you have to come back over here and you have to talk to Morella. She's sad that her comrades died, understandably, but she puts on a brave face and leads you out of the Varain ruins and back to camp. This is, again, cutscene travel. We don't have to walk back to camp. We're basically just transported there through loading. There will be a little bit of dialogue and cutscene, and then we'll basically be told we have to go to Aldalar Labyrinth, where we can use the light seal that we found earlier to find another primeval crib. We're gonna go talk to Zach, tell him that we're ready, and we are going to ride the Boscos, these big armored guinea pig things. They look much more fierce in the cutscenes than they do in the main game. Or not the cutscenes, the loading scenes. Which is I find hilarious. But so this is, they describe it as an interactive cutscene. It is pretty much an auto-scroller. There is nothing you can really do to speed this up, aside from not taking enough damage to die. Your Bosco has a health meter, and if it runs out of health, you have to restart this entire segment over. It's not a game over. It doesn't take you back to the last save point, at least, which is much more charitable than the rest of the game is. The rest of the game, if you die, you go back to the last place that you saved, and you don't get to keep your progress. But it is much slower than, not dying in this segment. So this is a good place to rest, relax, ride the Bosco, enjoy the beautiful music, the beautiful hand-painted, hand-drawn visuals. Really just kind of soak in. During this segment, you basically can use your attack button to jump your Bosco back and forth. It can run into these barriers, at which point it takes damage. So by going back and forth, you can avoid those barriers. And you jump with the jump button to jump over pits. If you fall into a pit, you take 1 damage and get sent back a little ways. And that's eventually you'll reach this particular segment. After you get past that like wrecked ship area, once you hit this bridge area, you're pretty much at the end of it. This will end, and you will be given the light seal. So Zach is going to hand the light seal over and be like, y'all go into the labyrinth and find the primeval crib and get us out of here. This is our last chance to escape Azur and get away from the Erlogs. We need this to operate the airship. And so we're going to come over here. We're going to insert the light seal. You can jump over this door and then walk off of it and then double jump to avoid staggering. And then, again, this is 3 characters need to put their hands on this in order to be transported into the Alvalar Labyrinth. Your spawn points are predetermined. It doesn't really matter where you put people, but this is actually the optimal spawn pattern anyway. There are 3 different... there's a door to where the primeval crib is stored. I'm actually gonna show it to you with Adara because she's close by. This door, which is down this way, has 3 seals on it. You can kind of see that there's 3 different shapes of seals on the door. And there are 3 sealing stones in this. And you're supposed to have to use some combination of characters getting around the labyrinth in different ways to get to this. So there are these stones here. Notice when Greek interacts with it, the other one lights up. If another sibling is using the other stone at the same time, they'll swap places. But because Greek can crawl through tunnels, he can actually get through the different parts of the labyrinth without his siblings. And that's actually how you're supposed to move around. Like you're supposed to, Greek can crawl through this tunnel, teleport somebody over to this side, and then crawl, from the other side, he'll crawl back through the tunnel. That's great. A lot of the puzzles are meant to require that you have some combination of 2 characters, Adara and Radel, Greek and Radel, Adara, well, actually, 2 of them are Adara and Radel combos. So here, you're supposed to hookshot Radel across to this door, and then send Adara around to the other side to crank it open, and then use his hookshot to get to the sealing stone. Greek, taking a maximum of 1 damage, can also make it through to the other side of this. And that's not that big of a deal. It's fine for Greek to take 1 damage. Now you're supposed to need Radel. You can actually, that's funny that you can slash those as well. If you could pogo in this game, then that would be a way up here. But you can't. But so Radel is supposed to have to hookshot up here. And it looks like you can't make this jump with Greek regardless. But you can actually do that. And generally speaking, you will take 1 damage from that fire. But you get 1 health back when you break open the sealing stone. And you'll notice that one of the symbols, the little leaf-like thing, disappears. And so now there are 2 left. So we'll go ahead and crank this open and move Greek back over to the other side of the labyrinth. Now going back up here is actually faster than taking the lower path, because if you take the lower path, you have to swing on some stuff, and that's kind of slow. But basically over here, there's another crawl tunnel for Greek to go through, and this is the only way for him through. That's not, this isn't just the fastest way. It's really the only way. And we're gonna take Greek all the way up past the doors. Now, normally you wouldn't have moved Adara at this point, so ignore the fact that she's by the door. Just pretend that she isn't there. And Greek is going to interact with this stone. We're then gonna switch over to Radel. Radel is going to just fall as much as possible until he gets here. We're gonna switch on that interaction, and then we're gonna switch immediately back to Greek. And Greek is going to come through here. So here it's actually important that Greek doesn't take damage. So we're going to hit the switch and then pop up for air. and then swim Greek through to the other side like that. The reason that we want to do this with Greek particularly instead of using Adara, even though she's close by, is because we want to get Greek up here in particular. And the reason for this is, so Radel is supposed to hook shot across up to the upper part of that platform and then use this teleport stone to teleport Greek up there so that, you can see there's a crawl space up there for Greek to go through. Again, totally not necessary to do that. Oop, I missed the jump. We're gonna come up here. We're gonna jump over here, slide off of this to get our double jump back, and then do that to land on the rope. And now Greek is up here, again, without Radel's help. We have barely moved Radel, and Greek is able to hit 2 out of the 3 ceiling stones this way. So this one is only accessible by Greek. He is the only one who's actually able to get here because he's the only one who can crawl through. And this door is only able to be opened by a crank from the inside. So Greek is going to open this door, and we're actually going to run Greek out here past this save stone and leave him here. It is now time for Radel and Adara to hang out together. We're going to take them over here. You're going to go left of the door and down, and then to the right. And then here, Radel needs to, oopsie doodle. Radel will double jump over here to pop his shield out, and Adara will swim down here, hit this switch to lower the water, and then get herself over here to move the raft just a little bit. It doesn't need to be too far. Then she'll pull it back over here. Radel will pop over here, and once he's there, she'll intentionally pop herself in the laser to respawn up there, and then Radel will come over here, hit that, and intentionally drown himself to respawn up on the ledge. Now, it turns out that you can actually move them a little bit while this cutscene is happening. You don't want to go too far because then you can get hit by the fire things. But you can start prepping them over there a little bit, and that does save some time. Now, only Radel and Adara will be fighting the final boss. That is, there is safety health over here. We're going to go ahead and take it. And we're going to move into, I'm actually going to save here because I'm probably going to mess around a little bit in the fight to try and demonstrate everything that happens. Normally you wouldn't take that save in a run. The final fight is actually not that bad once you know what you're doing. So what we're going to do is Radel's going to use a whetstone to increase his damage a little bit because he's going to be doing the majority of the damage. Not Adara. And as soon as we take the primeval crib, and as soon as we do, this plague abomination shows up. And so Radel is going to hop up and double slash. We're getting 2 hits in every time. When it's crawling like that, it can spit. And so it can also pop out from the foreground like that. When it does that, when it pops out from the foreground like that, Adara will only attack it if she's like right on its face. So you do want to be careful about your positioning to get right in there so you get extra damage from her blasts, in addition to Radel's sword slashes. That was actually really good RNG because we got a lot of damage in that phase. The other thing that this thing can do when it's hanging up there is it can spit webs. I'm not sure if it's going to do it, but yep, there, it's going to spit these webs. The lightning coming out of its mouth can damage you, but the webs just slow you down. You want to clear them a little bit so that you can make it over if it spawns like this. It'll spawn some mobs. Hold up when it spawns these flies so that Radel slashes up. But otherwise, you're just going to tuck yourself in that corner and so that it's going to do it does a slam attack, and if you're in the corner, the slam can't hit you. That was actually a really good and fast boss fight. And now we have sort of an escape sequence. The labyrinth starts collapsing. There's no timer on this. We're just trying to get out of here, and the labyrinth starts to do damage to us. All of these barriers that were blocking us before now will just shift up and open periodically. And they're not blocking us, but they are trying to crush us. And so we're going to go just immediately to the left of the door, through the barrier, up the mushroom, and to the left. We're going to crank this open enough so that Radel can get through. It is possible for him to get stuck on that. And hey, here's Greak. So now we have all three of us here. That's why we left Greak there, was really just so that he could meet up with everyone on the way. We're going to group up while we're waiting for this door to open and make our way out. It is important. It is really, really important that you carry all three characters out here, because the end cutscene will not trigger unless everybody is there. And then once you get out of here and to the left, once the letterboxing starts, that's time. And that's the end of the run. I have a tutorial up already on how Firefly works that does have an input display on it. So if you are curious for a little bit of a better look at how you would do that particular technique, because it is a little hard to describe, right? You're dropping the torch and then jumping and grabbing the torch and jumping and dropping the torch and grabbing the torch and jumping. And that is already available on my YouTube channel. But this is the entirety of the Any Percent run. If you have any questions about routing, if you have any suggestions or ideas, thoughts that might make it better, please feel free to leave a comment on the video, join the Discord. If you go to our speedrun.com page for Greek Memories of Azur, there is a link to the Discord there. Or just, come on by while I'm streaming this. Feel free to ask questions. I am always happy to help out. I love this game. I really enjoy this run. And I'm hoping that more people will pick it up.